And we're down to the final four teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs. What a second round that was. I'm looking forward to the conference finals. Looks like we're in for something pretty interesting. Another episode of the Curfew Boys. Thank you for tuning in. Sammy here with my cousin Chris. We're only two for now. We're only two for now, but the Statman Joe is supposed to join us in about a couple of minutes' time. Anthony's on vacation in sunny Florida, probably rooting for his new favorite team, but we'll see. The other Zook and Adri unfortunately couldn't make it tonight, so like usual, we're not thinking of them. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, Chris, what's up, buddy?
Not too much. Third round of the playoffs. Finally, a little bit back to the normality,
Yep.
which is no more Leafs as a part of the playoffs. So
Oh,
doing.
I can't wait to get into that, which we will.
Look, it's crazy. Like, don't get me wrong, enjoying the weather, everything's good. Life's going good. Lucky enough to be able to say that.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, look, it's for hockey talk. Crazy to think that it's going to be a Southern team. Like there are no teams that have hockey playing weather outside that are going to be winning a cup this year.
Yeah.
So and we're not talking about the artificial bullshit rinks
Mm-hmm.
that they make. Literally no hockey playing city or outdoor hockey playing city will be winning the cup this year, which is kind of sad. It was very sad to see Edmonton go as well, and Dallas Stars pissed me off because they were the only team that screwed up my predictions from last round. So with
Mm-hmm.
that said, looking forward, and I'm really hoping I'll leave it at this. I'm really hoping that the cup can come back to the East, or will stay in the East, for that matter.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Let's
And yeah,
write. Cool. Okay. Well, that's it then. You pretty much summed everything up. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for tuning. No,
yeah.
I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, it's we're gonna dive deep into a bit of that debate. That's what she said. And actually, before we do anything, there's something I want to not refresh your memory, but remind you. Don't forget June. I hope it's June 16th. But the more and more I watch the Flash trailers, the more and more I can't wait to see this fucking movie. Okay, like we're gonna put the hockey talk aside for 2 seconds and let the comic book nerds out. And I seriously, I don't care much for the Flash. Like I never really gave a crap about the character, even though you suddenly. It's so funny when it comes to the Flash. It's like, okay, yeah, whoa, he's the fastest guy on Earth, big whoop. But then you realize like he can actually time travel, and it's actually falls into a bit of like Einstein's theory of relativity, blah 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 blah. If I'm sounding smart, which usually I'm not. But the main reason why I can't wait for this movie is just because Michael Keaton's coming back as Batman, and the 1980s, the 1989, 1990 Batman was the I
Everything.
think
It was everything.
it was everything. I think that movie and that character was my childhood, and just the more and more I see these little trailers of like a minute or two, like clips, like the more I really can't wait to see this movie. And it's funny how real quick, it's so funny how we're talking about DC Comics in a hockey podcast, but I truly believe that this Flash movie might be the best like what the DCU has done aside from you and I personally loved Batman versus Superman. Like we thought Justice League, the actual Zack Snyder edition was actually very good, but
Yes.
all the other like not the spin-offs, but like the solo movies, the Man of Steel was actually very good. In my
Wonder Woman
opinion,
was also very good too.
the first one was
The
good.
first one, the
First
first
one
one.
because the second one was fucking terrible. Like 5 minutes in, I turned it off. Aquaman, whatever. Jason Momoa, like I don't dislike him, but whatever. but I really think this Flash movie is gonna be fucking amazing, just because there's both Ben Affleck coming back and Michael Keaton. But I'm curious to see how Batman's story within this universe actually comes to an end. Like, I cannot wait. We have to go see this movie. We invite the rest of the Curvy Boys and whoever, anybody else in Montreal that wants to come watch it with us. I cannot wait for this movie.
So look, on that front, literally on that front, I'm not going to turn my computer, but over here I have Jean Beliveau, two Carey Price little bobbleheads. I have an Andre Markov, Yvan Cournoyer, and thanks to you, I have the Steve Shutt bobblehead.
Oh yeah,
But
that's true.
right behind these guys, if I may nerd out,
Oh
you
yeah.
got the Ben Affleck Batman logo. And even behind that, if I may, you got the Dark Knight. You
Oh
got it
yeah.
himself based off of, look, comic book geek. I've always been, always had a crazy affinity for Batman. My whole family was the easiest Christmas, birthday shopping things. Just get me
Mm-hmm.
figurines, get me stuff. I
It's
grew
true.
up making my family sick to like at which point, well, not at which point, but to the point that I liked it that much. And it was just everything outside of cars. It was literally Batman,
Mm-hmm.
cars. And then as I grew older, really got into sports, soccer, hockey. But with that said, like I'm so we haven't had the opportunity between you and I on our
Yeah,
personal
I
time to
this
have
this
this
is the
discussion.
this is the only reason why I'm saying this now on this podcast, just before Joey shows up or anybody else of the Curfew Boys show up. Just real quick, we're gonna like not to change, fuck, not to change what this podcast is about, but just real quick, I saw it as a golden opportunity, real quick.
Oh, it was. Don't get me wrong. I've been watching. I've been watching these like. I'm sorry to say because I'm a nerd too in that sense, but like these nerd talk videos that they break down. I've already seen There's was an early screening of the Flash without the
Okay,
CGI perfected,
okay.
and I got like I was watching the reactions already, and to your point, just because you'll love to hear this, they said
Hmm.
Michael Keaton fucking delivered big time.
Oh, I'm
Ben
sure he did.
Affleck as Ben Affleck as Batman too. Obviously, I'm going to focus on the Batman elements first, but
Yeah, yeah.
Ben Affleck as Batman, and Zack Snyder, God bless the guy, visually was able to come up with different projects that were just stunning. Again, visually, but the storytelling, I think that guy had a little bit of difficulty telling a story within the, let's say, 2 hour time frame, 2.5 hour time frame. And that's why
Hmm.
we were saying his extended cuts are that much better. But what they're saying about, let's say, Ben Affleck's performance in that, he had some of his, no spoilers or anything like that,
Hmm.
obviously. He had some of his best Batman sequences. He had some of his best Bruce Wayne sequences. Michael Keaton fucking delivered big time on that. The emotions were there. The storytelling, which is usually a problem within the DC universe, they said it was a nice story. I
Okay.
mean, to put it, the critics were very like gave a very positive review. They've already been saying, look, even though it's not a completely finished movie, they didn't even have like the official credits in there. They were saying, look, possibly the best, if not one of the best DCEU films, possibly one of the best DC movies ever made, up
Well, that's
there with the
yeah.
likes of the Dark Knight trilogy and
Whoa.
others.
Okay. Jeez, that's bold.
And
Okay.
and
All
and
right.
the worst of them, that was, I guess, what was most reassuring. The worst of them, of the reviews, were saying, well, a little bit long, um,
Mm.
and the other thing too, obviously, is traveling through time. You
Yeah.
gotta put one and one together. If Michael Keaton's gonna be there, and he's time traveling and he's going through these different universes, is there a possibility of seeing other characters?
Could
Don't
be.
know. Nobody divulged that, but who knows if you're going to see like a Christopher Reeves type Superman or something like that. I think
Oh fuck.
because the critic that I'm trying to quote over here without knowing the quote offhand, was saying, well, they did a little bit of fan service within the last hour or hour and a half of the movie. So they're doing
Okay.
fan service. They're going through this. I'm expecting to maybe see some other characters from other DC movies over the course of the last
It sounds
20, 30 years. So
it sounds like they're desperate, but yet they might be able to pull it off. Hopefully,
fingers crossed.
hopefully. I'm a Marvel Comics fan more than anything, but for me, the Batman storyline probably tops almost every other Marvel character that I love to death. Like I'm including Spider-Man, Wolverine, Iron Man, all those guys. But for me, Batman is always a top. But that sounds pretty interesting. Like I haven't gone as far as you have, but still, like I still just can't wait for it just because I'm a devoted Batman fan, and I'm sure one of our buddies, Jordan. I think if he's listening to this, he's probably going to appreciate this part of the discussion of Batman. But look, thank Chris, thanks for that. Like now, I'm really more pumped than anything. But we're definitely gonna go catch that movie.
Oh, no
Let's
doubt.
let's
Without a doubt, premier
oh,
level
like
interest over here.
I just gotta double check my work schedule. But dude, speaking of work, holy shit! It was the last week on last Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night was my night shifts. My captain, it was her final weekend. She retired now. She officially retired. Man, she catches like we didn't get any fires with her since she's been on our shift.
Oh,
Those last two
is that
nights.
the girl who you were saying every time you were paired with, you would never have a fire? Was
No,
that the same?
no. It's not her. No, 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 no. No, but like
Okay, okay.
her final 24 hours, she catches two fires where she's in charge. She takes command of that call. Like no
Oh,
injuries, no nothing. But yeah, like actual pretty. Yeah, they were actually like just legit houses that caught on fire, and we went to Jobtown. If anybody's listening, they know what Jobtown means. It's time to go to work, and it was like in honor of like her career that she's done this for over 30 years plus. Like it was a nice way of like sending her off, like congratulations on the 30 years and 30-year plus. And yeah, that was my weekend, and then my week leading up to now. So
holy shit. Well,
yeah,
if I may, not knowing her name, well, thank you for your service
Cap, Cap,
from the outside regular people here that don't run into burning buildings. Thank you for your
yeah,
service, and if she's
Captain.
listening,
Yeah, we salute.
salute.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she was definitely a mother figure to me on the job, like Captain Linda Saint Germain. Yeah, God bless her. She was awesome. We're gonna miss her. Okay, hockey talk. Yeah, but before we recap everything that happened in the second round, like we're gonna wait for Joey to talk about that. But my God, like even throughout the small little break, like lots of shit's been going on in the NHL, and dude, like it's not getting any better for the Arizona Coyotes. Like
Uh, well,
this is getting serious now. Like this is becoming a bit of a joke.
yeah, but seriously, I'm sorry to say, it's a long time overdue.
Mm,
That franchise, and it's not that they haven't had competitive teams or anything like that, but you look at it as a franchise on the whole. They have a rink that seats maybe 5,000. I mean, Plas Bell blows it out of the water alone.
yeah,
That's not all right for an NHL team to have no fans. You look at it also too, how many, like, people at the end of their contracts now. I think Shea Weber, you had Pavel Datsuk, you had countless guys, like amazing guys that just had to take an early retirement or whatever it may have been. That's a place where a contract goes to die. That's a place
yeah.
where it's like a think of it almost like a gas station, like a refueling or like a service shop for the rest of the
in the
NHL. It's
middle
not a true.
in the middle of the desert, yeah,
Yeah,
literally.
it's fucking. I'm sorry to say, but like there are cities, and we're not even going to go talking about Quebec. We're not going to go talk about maybe
Yeah.
Southern Ontario. We're not going to talk about Houston or
Hmm.
other massive cities. They're just like even the Atlanta Thrashers. All due respect, were a lot less of a joke than the Arizona and Phoenix Coyotes were
Yeah.
over the years. So
Well,
that's
remember.
that's my that's my
mm,
opinion.
Well, I think when you draft guys like Danny Heatley and Ilya Kovalchuk, like holy shit, like back in the day, like it was something to be excited about. Like they were two of the best players in the world at one point. I remember
Yeah,
that. I
yeah. Well,
remember that.
Kovalchuk, I remember like that guy was pulling off highlight reel goals
Hmm.
when in my early teens.
Yeah.
Uh, Fantastic player to watch. Atlanta was Atlanta. Like it's nothing overwhelmingly special, but like even if they were to bring it back to like Hartford or other places, it's just like I feel that it's been a long time that the NHL has been babying Arizona just for the sake of having a team. And yeah, sure, Shane Doan, I know there is some
Yeah.
history there. You have to honor it, you have to respect it, but hey, the fuck, Winnipeg lost their franchise. They lost the Jets way back when. Quebec lost the
Yeah,
Nordiques only
the
to watch.
Jets.
The,
We all forget that the Winnipeg Jets became the Phoenix Coyotes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like look at Winnipeg. Winnipeg isn't like I'm sorry to say they have other than maybe CFL football, which fine at least that, but
Hmm.
fuck, other than the Blue Bombers and other than the Winnipeg Jets, like, those people are just thirsty for sports, whereas Arizona, like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, it's not a hockey market, and there's so many hockey markets. I wanted to just finish up by saying, like,
Hmm.
Quebec. Okay, they didn't have the Stade Videotron, which was ready to go and would have been is one of the newer buildings, if not the newest building, if it were part of the NHL, Seattle aside.
Hmm.
You look at them. They lost their team. They go to Colorado. They win the cup next year. Like, how fucking hard is that to
Yeah.
to have watched for true hockey market? There was a significant rivalry there. There's no rivalries really in Arizona. There's no competitiveness. There's no interest. There's no desire from the people who are living there. Clearly, with the vote that went through. So I'm sorry to say, but it's becoming humiliating for the league. And other than Gary Bettman wanting to stand ground and nurture his baby that's
He's got
clearly
a he.
dying,
Yeah.
he needs to let go. Fuck.
But I like how you bring up the rival. There's no rivalry. It's funny. You kind of made me change my mind because they're talking about other cities like Quebec City. Then they're talking about I think they're talking about Salt Lake City. They were talking about Kansas City, which I think maybe could work out. If you want to develop a rivalry, though, why not put them in Houston and have them a bit of a
Absolutely.
rivalry with the Dallas Stars?
Yeah, the
I
RR, the
think that could
redneck
work.
rivalry.
Oh my god. Can you imagine? Oh my god, can you imagine the fucking Winter Classic is they call the RR Classic? The redneck rivalry classic.
but
It's all
but
joke. It's all
seriously,
jokes.
it's
But no,
no,
it could
but
be something.
that is a great point
That's
though. That is.
marketing. That's marketing, which the NHL is missing. And Charles Barkley could back that shit up.
Yeah, I love that guy. The guy's quotes on
I love
hockey
him.
and his
I love
perspective
him.
on hockey,
I
like
love him.
he's actually shitting on basketball in favor of
No, dude,
hockey a lot of times.
but like okay, but like this all ties in together, okay? And it comes down to
Can
one person and one person. But
can I
finish your point. Yeah,
I just want to say one thing before we could close the book and we can just
yeah,
advance to the rest of the conversation. Houston, absolutely 100% before Quebec, before other areas. You have to keep them in the West. Stars are in the West,
yeah,
Texas in the West.
yeah,
You want to keep a team in the South. You got the team in the South. You might have the demographic. And then right away, to your point, you have that rivalry that is going to sell tickets. And there's just the sheer number of people
hmm,
living in Texas.
yeah.
You have a lot of people even moving out of California.
Zero
That's a
state
whole other.
tax, by the
So,
way. Zero state tax,
yeah,
by the way. Might that
exactly.
could probably attract players, like no joke.
That could fucking definitely attract players. So I just wanted to say, great point on Houston.
Well,
And now going back to Charles Barkley.
you just made me switch my mind because I'm there thinking like, yeah, no, Kansas City. My God, they have the Chiefs, the Kansas City Royals. I don't know if there's anybody else I'm missing. I think there's a Kansas City MLS team. To the best of I can't think about it now, but this all ties into what Charles Barkley said on the Spitting Chicklets podcast. The NHL does a bad job at not just marketing, but putting games on TV. And I
Yeah.
understand they're up against basketball and football, which is like the two biggest like sports in that just not just in the country, but in North America. Like let's not kid ourselves. Like basketball is popular in Canada too, in some sense. You know what I mean? But like especially football, basketball. But if you want to gain fans in America, like you're gonna have to compete with basketball and football. And I feel like the NHL, they just like it seems like they're just giving in that, well, we're not going to beat it. So, you know what I mean? And this is where you mentioned Gary Bettman before. And Joey's coming in. Here we go. Sorry. Yeah, there we
No
go.
problem.
Joe,
Hello,
you
hello.
made
Hey,
it.
Joe's a
You made it
I have made it.
just in time. Oh, sorry. Wrong button. Here we go. Joe just made it in time. Look, we didn't get started we didn't recap the second round, but we were just talking about how it's not really looking good for the Arizona Coyotes.
Nope.
And like Chris brought up a point where it's like there's no rivalry for Arizona, and then he just made me think that maybe um switching the team or relocating the team to Houston could create a rivalry with the Dallas Stars in
Yeah,
some
Houston
sense.
would be a great market for them. Besides, I know everyone would say like Quebec or whatever. Houston is a
I
really big sports city,
I
so it would be my choice in the U.S.
well, I think so too. And but the whole problem with all this, it comes down to the lack of marketing and putting
Oh,
hockey, actually
absolutely.
publicizing hockey in America. And like Charles Barkley, I'm sure we all saw that clip of Charles Barkley on the Spitting Chicklets podcast where he says they do a poor job putting hockey on TV, and he's totally
He's
right.
right.
And listen, I it comes down to Gary Bettman, and I just really think, look, I think in 30 years, we got to give credit where it's due. He did expand the game of hockey. He expanded the NHL, but I think right now, like the well is dry for Gary Bettman.
Yeah,
I really think it is. Like I really think it's time to bring in somebody new. It's literally thanks Gary for what you've done. We'll take it from here, and we need a bit more. I don't know. There needs to be like, listen, I'm not a businessman. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know this shit, but like, it seems like there's got to be somebody else who's open to more ideas and how to expand this game, this league to at least to the States.
but why is he so stuck in of keeping this team in Arizona?
I don't know,
That
but
we were just saying that.
Like, do you see how
I don't
embarrassing
know.
it is?
It is. It
On
really is.
Twitter today,
Yeah.
the official account Arizona actually asked the fans,
Yeah.
like, "Where do you want us to relocate?" Like,
Yeah, I
really?
know.
It's just I found that was a complete embarrassment. I don't know. It's not working.
It is. Yeah, it's not working, and that's what I mean. Like, listen, I think he's done his time. Like, I don't. If I listen, nobody knows how this shit's gonna resolve. I think everybody is speculating and worrying that a relocation might happen. Although, what's his name from the president of the NHLPA said he can't really see the Arizona Coyotes not playing at Mullet Arena. So I think I think one more season there, and you think about it too, man. Like the Arizona, they have amazing prospects coming up, especially after last year's draft.
Yeah.
So like they got to figure something out, and like they got to figure it out soon because even this year they're going to draft a good player, and Gary needs to get his shit together for sure.
Did they say why they voted down for why they voted no for the stadium?
I honestly
I only saw the voting itself.
yeah, me too. Ignorant of me, I didn't do deep research as to why it was voted against, but I don't know, man. I think it's time to move on. It's sad, it sucks. There's some people there that did support the team, but
absolutely
it's time to move on.
Yeah. And I just want to say like on that front, you were saying what can they do business wise? We're talking about broadcasting games. And I know this is going to sound stupid, but we are failing in our own country, and I don't know if that's just a question of the sports networks, but you look at TSN, these blackouts that occur because of the region that you're living in, that
Mm-hmm.
alone is
Yeah, it doesn't
absolute
help.
fucking bullshit, because the amount of games that I would tune into, the amount of extra games that I would tune into that are not in my own market.
Yeah, if you're out west, you can't watch games. Like there's so many Winnipeg games I wanted to watch and I couldn't because of the blackouts.
Yeah, and that in itself is bullshit. And the other, so like blackouts are happening here in Canada where the demand is there, and I don't know if it's just TSN and Sportsnet taking advantage of that, particularly TSN that's taking advantage of that, but that in itself is wrong. It's sad to see that like you'll have more coverage on college basketball and like college level sports rather than professional, like
It's
the
more
actual
popular,
professional league sports in the NHL.
It's massive
And then
in the States.
when you talk about a guy like Charles Barkley, you also have Snoop Dogg. The people who were like making a pitch to buy the Ottawa Senators, obviously like Ryan Reynolds is Canadian. Some of the other names, the Weekend I think was amongst the individuals who were a part of that bet. But seriously, fuck, you know, I think it would go a long way to get some American spokespeople or like a spokesperson or several spokespeople. I don't know if that's actually a word. I've never said it in the plural form, but at least a spokesperson or two that'll speak like Charles Barkley is doing, because I think a lot of Americans, like football, we can all agree, football in the United States, it sells, it's interesting,
Let's say
people
about
like to
college
watch it.
basketball, Chris. That's what you're mentioning.
So
Itself.
just NCAA
Same,
basketball, football, they're massive, massive.
same, exactly. But a lot of people are turning around, and I hate to say, I hate to say it, and it might actually affect the way that the NHL could be playing. You watch people and they're like, "Oh my god, they're fighting bare-fisted! Like this is savage!
Yeah,
Oh my god, they're hitting each other
they're
at like
it's
'Cause
20
it's
entertaining.
not
miles an hour."
exposed enough. It's not
They
exposed
just,
enough.
yeah, they don't see it, they don't know about it. They might have one or two voices that are starting to talk about it and getting people into the game and like, hey, watch this. But every single person, and I've heard this, you've heard this from your uncle, my dad said it a lot of times. He brought Americans to the hockey game, like to hockey games in their local states when he was visiting and doing business. And most of them would leave there going like, holy fuck, like they would
Yeah,
leave there going like, Jesus Christ, that was so exciting. It was so fucking like so quick, hard hitting, a little bit of violence. Like that was like football on ice
yep,
with less stoppages.
yeah.
Well, that
That's
It's
reminded me.
fucking
That reminded me, Chris. I went to so one game I went to outside of Montreal is I went to a Kings game once at the Staples Center in California, and the people around just you can just tell like they're very new to hockey, and there were so many people I encountered there that are so new to hockey, enjoyed it, but it felt like so many people around me were never exposed to it.
mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, I kind of felt like, oh my, wow, so many of these people in these stands don't know much about hockey, whereas in Montreal it's the opposite. It's really the
person
opposite.
puts a
It's
toe on the ice. Too many men.
well, but also we also got to realize in Montreal, like that's what happens when you win 24 Stanley Cups in almost
Of
in over
course,
100 years. But like hockey in the East, it's not gonna die. The hockey in the
it's
East, it's
hockey
not.
in the West, the
It's
market,
more out west and
yeah,
a bit of the
central and west
south.
and south, yeah.
So
But in
yeah.
Arizona's case, every other sport. So I think of Arizona like the Oakland teams.
Mhm.
Oakland has been doing horribly
Oh my
in terms of
God,
getting attendance.
the Oakland
Whether
A's,
it's Oakland
Oakland A's
A's
too
now,
now.
which
Yeah,
is just a
yeah, they're
little over
gone.
2,000, 2,000 people that go to a game at
Ugh, that's
yeah,
awful.
2,000. Imagine,
That's
you know,
awful.
exactly. Or the Oakland Raiders now went to Las Vegas. They
Yeah,
did the right things by moving the team out of Oakland with no hesitation.
yeah,
With hockey and the Arizona Coyotes, it's becoming an embarrassment now. It's how many years
yeah,
you're saying this, and the thing that put it over for me was that question on Twitter. I cannot
yeah,
believe that
yeah.
was asked.
I
That
didn't.
that put it
I
over for me.
know.
I'm like, this is done. I don't know how stupid can you be? Just move the team out. I don't get why they're trying so hard to keep them in Arizona if it's not working.
Listen, it's something that we're all going to keep an eye on. I, in a sense, look forward to seeing what happens.
Allume,
I don't know.
Gary. Allume, esti.
Réveille-toi,
But Sam,
tabarnak.
I
Yeah,
even understand. I know, and this will segue. I think this will segue perfectly into the playoffs. I know Gary Bettman wants to grow the game, obviously in the West and the South, especially in the US.
mm-hmm.
Houston would be like phenomenal, I think,
Okay.
to have
Yeah,
a team.
I
And
think so too. Yeah.
exactly. And this is where I'll segue. I think we're kind of done with this topic. Look at the teams that remain in the playoffs now, which we'll
We
get
said
to.
it.
Right?
We
Well,
said it
listen,
before. West
listen.
South.
The 1999 Dallas Stars is one of my favorite teams ever to win. Go look
There
at
you
that.
go.
Go look at that roster lineup. Look them up. Go look at that roster lineup. The 1999 Dallas Stars that beat.
Sam, was Hull's skate in the crease though?
No goal for what's his name, the coach. It was, but I mean, but I
I know. It's just anytime
I
someone brings up the Stars, that
yeah, I
frown,
know,
it's the first thing I think
I
of.
think they would have won regardless because
Yeah,
they just had a superior team. Dominic Hasek, like I'm happy he got to win with eventually.
he's
But
like pre-Carey Price. He was
but
pre-Carey Price.
listen. Okay, look. okay, we're basically going to recap the second round of the playoffs. But this is Dallas. This is Dallas once again. We all forget, or maybe some of us forget that they were in the Cup Finals in 2020 and they lost against Tampa Bay. Like they're not far. And then my God, like they're back to the Western Conference Finals in 2023. So
No Corey Perry this time.
No Corey Perry this time. No Radulov either.
Is he worse than Hossa in that regards for the
Who?
losses? Corey Perry?
Yes.
He made every final besides the one he won in Anaheim.
Well, because
the last three finals he lost.
Well, look, because Hossa lost 2 in a row,
and then he won with Chicago.
I think he was in Pittsburgh. He was in Pittsburgh that lost against Detroit. Then he went to Detroit and lost against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But then he wins 3 with Chicago, and like he's a fucking Hall of Famer. I love Marian Hossa.
Corey Perry, Dallas
my
loses.
God, Dallas loses.
Montreal loses. I'm gonna go to Tampa to win. Loses. Poor guy.
Like poor guy for real, man. 3 in a row, or is it 4 in a row?
3 in a row.
3.
Yeah, it was 3 with Dallas,
Montreal.
Yeah, Dallas, Montreal.
Tampa.
And then you're right. Okay, so listen, recapping of the second round. Look, since we're talking about Dallas, I knew they were going to win against Seattle. I didn't think they were going to win in 7, but I think the Seattle Kraken, that organization, could keep their heads up, hold them up high, because they eliminated the Stanley Cup champions, the Colorado Avalanche, even though Colorado was missing significant players due to injuries and just not being there. My God, like the Seattle Kraken, like good for them. They kept it there, but you just saw like Dallas, it's just the depth of that team, and they have a great goaltender. Defense is awesome too. I didn't think Seattle was going to win. My God. Rupert Hintz and Joe Pavelski, like he's playing like he's fucking 28 instead of 38. It's unreal. He's crazy.
Yeah, he was the player probably of the series, but hats off to Seattle. They were 1 game away from making the conference finals in their second year. But Dallas just had the better team and just had more going for them. I loved how Hintz played and how Pavelski played. Little disappointed Robertson this series. I don't think he had a 5v. I think he had 1 point or 1 goal in 5v5.
He only has 2 goals in these playoffs.
Yeah,
2 but like he's
still had 100 and something points.
But he's still second in the team with points. Like but man, like you go from 46 goals in the season, only 2 goals in these playoffs. But we're gonna get to the predictions later. But yeah, absolutely. Dallas is definitely gonna need more from him.
Especially against Vegas. Vegas is gonna be
tough. Yeah, exactly. We're gonna get there. But yeah, what a goal by Wyatt Johnson though.
I know
that backhand. Oh my God, that was amazing.
Yeah, that's what wins you games, man.
But that's exactly. What is he? He went on. He broke the record, the youngest player to score a game 7, a game winner in a game 7, something like that. At 20 years old.
Yeah, something like that. What did he score the winner? Yes, because
they won 2-1 or 3-1, something like that.
2-1.
Yes.
2-1.
Yeah.
1 goal away.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, listen, I think Seattle, Ron Francis and Seattle, they're building something good here. That's gonna be I can't wait to see that. Look, we all knew Carolina was gonna beat New Jersey. I mean, New Jersey took it to them that 1 game where they demolished them, like 8-4. And it's okay. It's like, as Carolina is like, okay, you know what? We had that 1 bad game. This ain't gonna happen.
But it wasn't
ever again. It ain't gonna happen ever again. As soon as they're like, yeah, you know what? Okay, we'll give it to them. But then Carolina just became the Carolina Hurricanes that we know. And what amazes me even more is that you forget that there's no Svechnikov and there's no Teravainen, but Teravainen is finally back. He's back tonight as we speak. They're actually playing right now.
You got Kotkaniemi, Sam. They're good,
dude. Hey, listen, you want to talk about Kotkaniemi? Listen, really, man. Well, listen. I'm gonna say this. I am not surprised about Kotkaniemi.
He shows up in the playoffs for sure.
He shows up in the playoffs. Listen, he did almost nothing. He did practically fuck all in the first round. In this round, he's one of the reasons why they won.
Yeah.
And then, look, we all know that New Jersey, we called it lack of experience, and it's right. They're all young, but New Jersey is going to be a fun team to watch, and I can't believe we're actually saying the New Jersey Devils are going to be a fun team to watch.
Weird, eh?
It's very weird. It's very, very weird. But I like New Jersey. I always did. But I like Jack Hughes. I like Dawson Mercer. Luke Hughes is going to be awesome.
I hope Montreal can model a bit with what New Jersey's doing. I like their structure. I like the way they're going.
Yes. I want more. I want their model more like Carolina. I rather Carolina a bit more. Why? Because of
that's hard.
Of Rob Brindamore. I think hard. Rob Brindamore and Marty St. Louis. I know I said this many times. Chris too. If I and again, I'm gonna mention this. I'll probably repeat it. The further Carolina goes in these playoffs, I think could benefit Marty St. Louis in terms of studying this team and studying Rob Brindamore and how he is as a coach.
We need to recruit well. That's
sorry.
We need to recruit well. Like having guys like off Aho makes a massive difference.
For sure. I'll just say Kotkaniemi. I'm gonna say this, and I don't care if I piss off a certain portion of Habs fans out there. Okay, but stop getting butthurt about what happened, okay? Jesperi Kotkaniemi did not fail the Montreal Canadiens. It's the Montreal Canadiens that failed Jesperi Kotkaniemi, okay? You know what? Listen, at 19, 20 years old, you know what? They're kids that are heavily influenced by their agents. Let's be serious here. When an agent tells you, hey, you're getting a $6 million offer sheet from this team, you're gonna fucking take it, no questions asked. But the thing is, we talk about like Habs fans bitch about it. Some of them, not all of them. Does anybody remember that Sebastian Aho signed an $8 million offer sheet by the Montreal Canadiens?
That's okay. Great. I'd like to step in at this point in time because Marc Bergevin fucking could have fucking offered a little bit more, and there's no way in hell Carolina financially. They literally said if Marc Bergevin, I think it was off by like $50 or a few $100 or whatever, he pushed it all the way to the limit. But if he would have just went one echelon above, which was a little bit more money, Carolina would have never been able to afford that contract.
But the thing is, he didn't want to give up that extra first-round pick that he might have had to have given up.
For sure,
probably him and Timmins probably messed up anyway. So,
but that's the thing. It's like
that first-round pick ended up being Caulfield. Watch. I don't think so. But yeah.
Hold up though, because this is the tale. This is the tale of Marc Bergevin, and this is what Kent Hughes cannot afford to do. Marc Bergevin was half in, half out for fucking everything. He never dove in, other than maybe the Shea Weber for PK Subban trade. Mm-hmm. He never really went balls to the walls, fucking all in, chips on the fucking table, take a gamble. Sebastian Aho, we might have overpaid, but you fucking do something or you don't do it. Marc Bergevin was a guy who was right in between for a lot of fucking shit, and because, going back to that offer sheet, because he did what he did, that fucking triggered Carolina to do what they did with Kotkaniemi. Marc Bergevin started likely contract negotiations or lowballed the shit out of KK, which opened up the door.
But that's the thing. It never should have gone to that. He should have given KK. He should have signed him like almost ASAP.
Yes,
that's it.
It was another case. It was just another case of Marc Bergevin fucking up a contract negotiation and doing a shit job.
So this is Chris's the steam coming out of Chris's ears. As soon as you mentioned Bergevin.
No, but this is but look.
But can we say, Sam, that I don't think Montreal failed him. I think Ducharme and Bergevin failed.
Don't
forget
Claude Julien
organization.
I don't see it. I don't see how. Listen, I don't know how if Ducharme really failed him. Like Kotkaniemi played well in those playoffs during that Stanley Cup.
Yeah, but if you look at it overall, he didn't really thrive.
But dude, Joel,
Ducharme.
he came in at the age of 18 and he wasn't able.
I get
Like,
it.
we
I get
rushed
it.
this kid. We
But
rushed this
that's
kid.
where Marc Bergevin, the whole failure part of Marc Bergevin, because he was young.
Well, Marc Bergevin is the GM of the Canadiens. Marc Bergevin represents the Canadiens. That's why I say the Canadiens failed him. They really did. They really did.
It's two individuals that aren't here anymore, right? So Montreal knows what they did wrong. It's two individuals that aren't here anymore.
But but Marc Bergevin was in charge of organizing this team. He failed him. He failed. Therefore, Montreal failed him. I'm sorry, Habs fans. You're going to have to fucking hear this. Stop getting butthurt. Get over it. Anybody would have signed that offer sheet deal. And look at him. I'm not saying he's the best. I'm not saying he's the best player. Yeah, of course, I would have too. Eyes closed. Let's go.
Sam, if
look
the
at him
Maple
now.
Leafs offer me $6 million a year, I'll be honest.
I'll kill you. I'll never be friends with you ever again. I will disown you as my best friend.
If you told me you wouldn't sign it, Sam, you are lying to yourself.
Listen, fine, whatever.
I don't know.
If I came close to making the NHL, fine. Okay, whatever. Point taken. I'll still never be friends with you ever again if I know that one of my best friends is playing for the fucking Toronto Maple Leafs. All that to say is, look at Kotkaniemi now in a lineup of Rob Brindamore's lineup and the Eastern Conference Finals. He's second line center. Like, come on. He's not there because, there's injuries. He's not there because of injuries. He's there because it's merited, man. And this is what Habs fans to understand. Fucking, the smart ones know. The smart ones, like the three of us and the Curfew boys, they know. And they wish him well. And some of them probably hope he wins the Stanley Cup, like me. There's others that, that are just fucking bitter and butthurt about every little fucking thing. No, I'm sorry. This is where you're wrong. And you're gonna fucking take it.
I wish most players well, to be honest. Even the ones I don't necessarily agree should be on Montreal. If Gallagher, Savard were to leave, I would wish them out. The only person I would never wish well, honestly, is Marc Bergevin. If he gets another GM job, I wish misery.
Hey, Pittsburgh is.
Yes,
I heard Calgary as well.
Oh, okay. But before we get to that, and still on the topic of Carolina. Come on, we have to elaborate on Carolina paying the New Jersey celebrities to fucking do the congratulations videos. Did you guys see that?
I didn't see that. No,
I did not see the video either.
Okay,
God!
You gotta share it with us.
Yeah, you gotta share with us.
Share it. No, I swear to God, I didn't see it.
Yeah. Okay. So they got they got two guys from The Sopranos.
Yeah. Shit. Did they get Putty from Seinfeld?
They didn't. They didn't get David Putty, but the two true standouts were Furio. They got Furio's character.
No. Okay.
Yeah, and they're saying congratulations, Carolina. You did they literally got New Jersey celebrities to congratulate fucking Carolina on the I don't know what the hell the app is called where you get a celebrity to make birthday wishes and shit like that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so they did it like funny. That, but it was just the humiliation. I have to say, Carolina itself, fantastic team and whatever, but that whole bunch of jerks, they adopted that organization. Adopted it so well. They're
that's also because of Don Cherry.
For that.
If Don Cherry would have never called him that, they probably wouldn't have gotten that reputation.
No,
but it does fit them. They took it and ran with it.
The story, but that's the thing. Yeah. The team is not celebrating after the game. I have no problem, but that organization. Fucking what they do on social media.
Yeah,
they beat the Habs all year. I want to fucking find that person and just beat the living shit out of that fucking.
It's funny.
They piss me off.
But I
between
think
the celebrations and the way they market on social media, how they are, I think the NHL needs more of that. I think
so too. Whether you love it or hate it, it's great for the fans. It is great for the fans. I gotta ask you guys this question. What's going to happen with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Edmonton Oilers here? Because this is it feels like all is right in the world now that Toronto is officially eliminated.
And Edmonton, no Canadian team.
No,
but
Joey.
I'm with you, Joey, and I'm with you, Chris. For me, I truly love Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl as hockey players. I really do. They're the best at their craft, and they're so fucking good. But my God, like, could they have a fucking goalie, or can they have defense, please?
Okay, so we're starting with the Edmonton Las Vegas.
Let's go with Edmonton, Las Vegas.
Yeah,
Let's go with that.
They did well in getting Ekholm from Nashville, which I thought was a great pickup. But again, the goaltending and the way they structure for defense, it's just they can't figure it out. When they were having a 2-1 lead in Game 6, was it?
Yes.
Everyone
game that got them eliminated.
And I think even analysts that I follow, like Eric Angles, they said, they can't hold this lead because they've never been that team. But again, you can't just outscore everybody. You need a balance of both, and they cannot figure out the defensive part of it. I truly feel bad for McDavid and Draisaitl, but
I really do.
They cannot figure it out.
Stewart,
how do we get a goalie from waivers? Montembeault, which is doing well. I know we'll get to that. How do we get a goalie that is better than their starters off of waivers? How do we have 3 goalies that are better than they do?
I think Stuart Skinner, we forget that he's a rookie, right? But they got Jack Campbell.
Calder nominee as well.
Is he a Calder nominee?
He is a Calder nominee.
So you know what? So maybe they
found
their guy, but it's just we're so wrapped up in like, my God, okay, it's McDavid and Draisaitl's turn now that like they're too top heavy. I feel like it's the same for Toronto, but I'm not going to talk about Toronto just yet. You talk about their defense, Joey.
The Capitals, Sam.
It took Ovechkin how many years? Ovechkin won his cup at the age of 32.
Offense.
Yes.
Yeah, they were high-powered offense. Every time they got the playoffs, just goaltending. Well, even they had better goaltending than with Holtby.
Holtby was outstanding when they won.
Yeah, but before that, they had goaltending. Just structurally, defensively, they couldn't. Yeah. Even their forwards coming back on defense,
they had to get rid of. But they had to get rid of Carl Alzner first. That's why.
And obviously, we took them. They could not figure it out. The year Ovechkin in that playoffs, everybody sacrificed and did what they needed to do to win. Even Ovechkin playing defense. Yeah. That's what I think Edmonton have not figured out yet. Really, they have.
Who's their number one on defense? Who's number one?
John Carlson?
No, I'm talking about Edmonton. Sorry, Edmonton.
Oh,
who's the number one defense?
I would have said Nurse or Ekholm.
Is Darnell Nurse really a number one defenseman?
Yeah, I would say
on any contending team? Darnell Nurse a number one? I like him, but I don't like him as my number one.
No, for sure not.
And this is where they have the issue. Yeah. But every year they drafted high. They went with best, and I don't fault them the way they draft. I know it looks bad because they haven't won a cup. Every year they've drafted high, whether it's first or top 5. They took best player available, and at those spots, I'm pretty sure the best players or around them were forwards and not defensemen. So they went best player available strategy. Clearly,
their best young defenseman is Evan Bouchard, who had an excellent playoffs. He had an excellent playoffs.
Yeah,
he put up how many points here? I have it written down here. Hold on.
I feel bad about Brett Kulak.
17 points. 17 points. But dude, Brett Kulak, Cody Ceci, who else after that?
Evan Bouchard. It's Evan Bouchard, Matthias Ekholm, and Darnell Nurse.
Matthias Ekholm on a Stanley Cup final Nashville Predators team was number 4.
Yeah, he was playing second line for Edmonton. I think first was Cody Ceci and Darnell Nurse.
But dude, when they got him, like you have Nurse, Bouchard, and Ekholm, but like Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, they're all 3 of them were acting as like 1, 2, 3. They're trying to do a bit like the Weber, Sherratt, and Petrie, like the Canadians did. But it's just like, no, Matthias Ekholm is a number 4. Evan Bouchard, maybe a number 2, a number 3. Fine. He improved his game. Excellent for him. I always liked Evan Bouchard. 17 points, by the way. Darnell Nurse, I'm sorry. He's another. He could be like a Ben Sherratt with maybe a bit more offensive upside.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Look, Edmonton was missing another defenseman. I'm going to throw out a name before we get to that series, and we're not done. Like, I really want to say something else about one or two other things about this series, but they were missing a guy like Radko Gudas or somebody to shut down to fucking shut down, to play physical, to be a little bit more intimidating on the back end. Edmonton, they were talking about it. How nice would it have been for them to have a guy like Edmondson playing for them? They missed exactly that type of fucking player to shut down and to close down the game when the time came. I'm sorry to say against Stuart Skinner, I wish you the best of luck because I really want to see Edmonton competing for the years to come. But they need a goalie now because they have the offensive, like 2 offensive gods on their team that they could compete with just as soon as. Like, you want to develop Stuart Skinner, perfectly fine, but look what Bob Bobrovsky is doing for fucking Florida. If Edmonton had a better goalie this playoffs, they would have already been through to that 3rd round. Vegas is not getting through.
You put a healthy carry price on this Edmonton roster right now.
They're already planning the Cup parade potentially.
It's so funny, and this is where I'll give credit to Vegas. Vegas been around it's their 6th year.
And they're already they missed the playoffs, I think once or twice. Once. Yeah.
They missed the playoffs, and they've been to 2 cup finals, I think.
Yeah.
Or no, one cup final.
One cup final.
One
conference final. I have to say this though, but
no, 2 conference finals.
Yeah, 2 conference finals.
This one then against the Canadians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, that's
Vegas,
3.
3. That makes it 3. This is their 3rd.
This is their 3rd.
Oh yeah, if you include their Stanley Cup finals, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. That's pretty
fantastic.
Good. How is it they acquire guys like Eichel, Mark Stone, and Pietrangelo, and meanwhile here we're fucking
because their first. Well, they're an attractive place in Vegas, but their first year they impressed everybody by making the Stanley Cup finals in their first year.
Yeah.
So it's easier. People wanted to go there thinking, they can do something, and they grabbed the opportunity. Stone, even Pacioretty, which I know he got traded and he's with Carolina, but he's hurt. He's out for the year, right?
Hey, did you remember that Phil Kessel is still on Vegas?
Yes.
He's not even playing.
That's crazy.
He got 2 rings, but I want to say this: Vegas is happy. Like a guy like Marchessault finally woke up.
Yeah, of course.
They needed their depth players to finally wake up, and they did. Because Jack Eichel, he's playing amazing. He's doing awesome. Joe, I know. I don't want to throw that in your face, but I kind of had to.
No, it's
Mark
fine.
Stone, you'll always get a good performance out of Mark Stone. Chandler Stevenson has really stepped it up, and then a guy like Riley Smith is there. Then you have William Carrier, who's a fucking horse. Carlson too. William Carlson.
Imagine your centers: Eichel, Carlson, Stevenson. Oh my
god!
That's it. And their defense is amazing with Pietrangelo and Shea Theodore, Alec Martinez, McNabb. They're in a good spot. Anton Hill.
They built well. They did it smart.
They really did.
Smartly. They were so opportunistic. They got Eichel. They got Stone. Yep. It's incredible. That's why I was so mad. I know you said you don't want to throw in my face. It's fine.
No, I didn't. But you have to mention Jack Eichel.
It was such an opportunity. We're not going to make this about it. I just wanted to state that it was such an opportunity for Montreal. I cannot believe they passed up on it on a number 1 center, and you had no more worries for a long time. But anyways.
Yeah, it's the one thing I want to say about Pietrangelo though. I love the guy, but I didn't like the slash he gave to Draisaitl. It merited a 1-game suspension. But there's something I want to point out about that. That's intent to injure, not Jacob Trouba hit on Timo Meier. Okay, people, get that through your heads.
Yeah, the one last agree with that 100%. One last person I wanted to mention way earlier. Disappointment for Edmonton in comparison to other playoff years. Zach Hyman. That guy was an X factor. So many times he let that team down this year. I'm sorry, but
it sucks.
No good. No bueno.
Here, just breaking news. Carolina's now leading 1-0 with 11.1 seconds left in the first period. And Seth Jarvis, who's just outstanding.
The whole defensive core is outstanding.
But Seth Jarvis, the forward, he's outstanding. He's outstanding.
Yeah, Seth Jarvis, the forward, is just Carolina's D is just.
We're gonna get to that, but the Maple Leafs, we gotta talk about these jokes here.
They just suck. They suck. There's nothing more to
They're
say.
just-
Matthews at 0
But
goals.
listen, but dude, is I calculated amongst them all the five guys, the five core. I'm not including Ryan O'Reilly. Like in 5 games, Matthews only 2 points, Marner 3, Nylander 3, Tavares 1. Ryan O'Reilly has the most points in 5 games amongst those with 4.
Okay.
I'm talking about the second round series. Chris, you mentioned Bobrovsky, you mentioned Gudas. Those 2 guys did their jobs. I want to mention other players though.
Montour. Brandon Montour was
Since
fucking amazing.
Since when is he
Good
like the
player.
second coming of fucking Bobby Orr all of a sudden?
He's a good player. He's always been a
You
good
know,
player.
he's thinking like you probably heard us be like, yeah, Lane Hudson, whatever.
Sam,
like,
remember
watch
last
me
year
do
I
it.
was so excited. I wanted Florida to win, and they lost
Yeah.
in the second round because they had such exciting players.
Dude, they had
This year, they made the
Giroux
change.
yeah.
Yeah, they made the change with Huberdeau to
Can
Kachuk,
you-
and it just
if you're
brought them to another
Jonathan-
level.
If you're Jonathan Huberdeau right now, are you not freaking out?
I mean, he didn't show up, and Kachuk is.
If you're
There's nothing to
Uyghur, are
freak
you
out
not
about.
freaking? Well, dude, if I was Jonathan Huberdeau, I'd
Yeah,
be.
but he was part of the problem.
Oh, come on, really?
Sam, in
No.
the playoffs, he did not. I watched every game of Florida last year.
You might
he
be
did
right.
not show up that
Okay,
second round.
Joey.
Okay, but look, Jonathan Huberdeau aside, imagine going from Florida to Calgary in the freezing cold. Like that must
And he didn't make
absolutely suck
playoffs.
double.
And
But
taxes.
but the one thing, the one player, and this was like poetic, Connor Verhaeghe, the guy.
He's awesome.
Is it
Carter.
Carter. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize, but
Chris, you want
Verhaeghe,
Okay, Chris, put a pin on that.
drafted by Toronto.
Yeah. Chris, you know. So, Chris, at the beginning of the episode, you know how I was talking about my captain that she retired.
Yes.
Okay, well, she worked in Toronto Fire Department. She worked with Carter Verhaeghe's dad.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
no shit.
Yeah. I'm serious. So a few times, not to get sidetracked, but a few times we were watching the Florida Toronto games at work. She's like, "Hey, Verhaeghe, is that like?" She knows the name Verhaeghe, and she's like, "Is he from Toronto?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh my god!" She's like, "I think I might have worked with his dad. There's a Verhaeghe that has a son in the NHL." And it turned out to be Carter Verhaeghe.
Wow.
So,
Way.
yeah, so
Wow.
no, just
Good-
so,
good for
yes,
him.
but no, but okay, but I'm glad you mentioned his name. We gotta throw in the names like Reinhardt. We gotta throw in the names like Bennett out there too.
Bennett.
Nick Cousins, Montreal Canadiens legend, Nick Cousins. Like no, but these are role players.
Barkov. Not a role
No,
player, but
no.
I just have to mention him. My favorite
Look,
center.
look. For sure, Barkov and Matthew Tkachuk, they're the top 2 guys. They're the top dogs of the team. But then you have the role players, like you have like Verhaeghe, like Bennett,
Duclair.
Reinhardt. Oh my god, I didn't even mention Duclair. Toronto doesn't have that. They're again top heavy with 4 or 5 guys that are supposed to that have to provide the same role. That's why it doesn't work. And their defense, aside from Morgan Riley, who is probably the only player in Toronto I respect. I actually like Morgan Riley. I like Mitch Marner too.
I like Marner. I'll be honest,
I actually like Marner. But other than that, like if you're relying on if Morgan Riley is almost your best player,
yeah, there's a problem.
there's
Yeah,
a
it's an
fucking
issue.
problem.
Blow it up. Trade Marner to Montreal and blow it up.
Oh my god.
I know. No. Listen. This is my shine. Chris's time to shine right over here.
Let's go.
No. Listen, like Brucey's time to shine when in the longest yard. That's how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I'm about to criticize professional athletes when I could probably barely keep up with them skating. So just bear with me over here. Look, Morgan Riley, I'll start off by extending an olive branch, as we'd like to say, and saying Morgan Riley. Seriously, I've seen that player's development over the years. Watching Toronto lose has been great, but I have to say, in the process of watching them lose, there has been, like, Morgan Riley has been able to up his game every single year, and he had a hell of a fucking playoff. So, tip my hat to you, Morgan. But on the side of you started off this segment of the podcast saying, what does Edmonton do? What does Toronto do? Edmonton gets a goalie. Edmonton beefs up on defense. I think they go the distance. They might even win the cup. Toronto. You go back, especially the game 4, the one game that Toronto actually won.
Yeah.
At the end of the game, they go in. I don't know if it was Sam Bennett or who it was that went in. They absolutely destroyed Morgan Riley.
I think it was Gudis that came. I think who was that? Gudis delivered a hit, but I don't know if it was up against Morgan Riley.
No, Gudis was in the middle of the game, but I'm talking about at the end of the game when you see Mitch Marner getting punched by Matthew Tkachuk.
There were teammates.
In
the OHL,
teammates, whatever it is, I look at those players, and I'm gonna go back and say this, and this is why Toronto, like, I have no respect for Toronto. I don't see anything in them. I don't see any character. They don't command respect. You see the Boston Bruins, even though it doesn't merit a fight, if the players think that their guy got, hit hard or something like that, they fucking respond and like, you hit our guy hard, you're going to be hurting too. Like, our guy's hurting, you're going to hurt. We're going to fucking take it to you.
Yeah.
Toronto, you have fucking Austin Matthews laughing like the fucking idiot that he is. He starts shit and then he fucking doesn't respond. 6'3", my fucking size, drops the gloves once and gets and barely by choice. Like, I think the glove might have fallen off.
I loved when Stamkos beat the shit out of him.
When Stamkos beat the shit out of him.
No, I know.
Marner and Matthews, the two guys. Let's look. Tavares is getting a little bit old. Nylander, I have to say, another guy that's half decent in the playoffs.
Yeah, they shit on Nylander all the time. He was their best forward.
Yeah, the two money makers, Marners and Matthew. You do not build a team around fucking, I'm sorry to say, but a pussy player like that. And to your point, Joey, you want to talk about a guy like Jonathan Huberdeau versus a Matthew Tkachuk. Matthew Tkachuk is a player that I fear in the playoffs because he fucking brings it. He's got your head that's going to be kept up. If you manage to bully and beat down on a player like Huberdeau, like fucking Matthews, some of them, don't get me wrong, some of them, they might have good games. They might find a way around you. They might be able to perform. But the difference, like, I'll leave it off on this. I never, ever want to hear the fucking comparison by these morons at Sportsnet or TSN comparing Matthews and McDavid. Because even though there's players that are looking to smash McDavid every single fucking shift, this guy is untouchable. Matthews is a pussy fucking bitch who disappears every fucking playoffs. Every time it gets tough, MIA. Same thing for Marner, and they'll never win with these bitches. You want to fucking, my opinion, Dubas or whoever's going to be directing the fucking show over there in Toronto, get some character players.
Sam, cut this section when.
Well, listen, I think Chris needs a 2-minute fresh air. I truly think.
Sam, when we do our shorts on YouTube, you should put this segment just like a solo.
This is automatically going up.
But I agree with McDavid. I feel so bad. The guy had 20 points and like he's just out because they can't keep a puck. But for Toronto, their best players just didn't perform.
They didn't show
Florida was all over them, and Tkachuk was like. He was just a monster. Top guys were
Bobrovsky too. Was outstanding.
Yeah, he was, and I'll give it to him. But Tkachuk was a monster. First thing I actually thought of was, look, I always put in Montreal. It's a Montreal podcast. If there's one thing I want to see on Montreal is a 100-point player. I'm dying to see this. And the fact that Florida traded one. Just
for another one.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's insane.
No, I know. And my God, to me, I don't think the Leafs are going to get rid of Sheldon Keefe because I think they're going to do the same. They're going to do the same thing with Cooper from Tampa. Like Tampa Bay was patient with John Cooper, and they ended up getting the results. Now, I'm not saying that keeping Sheldon Keefe will eventually lead the Toronto Maple Leafs to winning the Stanley Cup. But part of me thinks he might be the problem. I think they just need a different coach. But I think it is a culture problem. I think Chris.
They need to sacrifice for.
I'm gonna say it less vulgar than Chris was, but yeah, when shit hits the fan in Toronto, when things get rough and physical, Marners and Matthews disappear. They did the exact same thing against the Canadiens. The exact same thing. And the reason why they beat Tampa Bay is once again Tampa Bay did not bring their physical game to them.
And also, Montreal thought ahead with their high IQ, sending Nick Cousins to Florida, eventually getting there.
Well, listen, oh my God, that was just awesome. But
that was just epic.
Well, look, the Montreal in doing so, the Canadians, we don't get the 17th overall pick. It goes down to the 29th.
At that point, whatever.
I understand.
It ain't lottery.
But I'm just saying, they're like Habs fans we were struggling. A lot of us were struggling.
Maybe Sam will be forced to take a goalie because we're lower. Maybe blessing.
Maybe Trey Augustine, Joey.
I looked at Habral. I think it's Habral.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. I'm looking at Trey Augustine, and I think he's got better numbers for he's American. I think he's got better numbers.
Or if not for me, I would trade the pick and have.
I'm glad you mentioned it, but maybe Trey.
Wild.
But maybe Trey Augustine. Hey, listen, let's take a side step off of the playoffs. Look, I just want to get into the Canadians players that are at. But before fucking Chris blows up another gasket, I really want to talk about some of the Habs players at the men's World Championship. We talked about let's say what, Joe? You mentioned the goaltender thing. Sam Montembeault, right now, I think is Canada's best player.
Yeah,
you have to give it to Joe. Last episode, you said.
I know.
I'm
not wrong
what
often,
you said.
but when it happens, it happens. So far, he's proving me wrong. He's becoming a really good goaltender. I don't know from where, from what, but he's becoming a good goaltender. He keeps performing. So hats off to him. He's been outstanding.
Listen, he's got two middle names.
What?
It's Samuel Ken Patrick Montembeault.
Hey, Montabarnak, that's it. Let's keep it to just
not Carey.
His last name alone is fucking long.
That's why not Carey.
No, I love Carey, but it's too soon.
Yeah, no, it is too soon. Well, we talk about Carey Price. We didn't mention this. Carey was practicing and coaching Sam Montembeault before this tournament.
So the aura is being passed.
I'm just saying, maybe
look, it's good.
Maybe it's a great thing, and maybe it's an open opportunity for Price once his contract is done. Maybe I'm just saying. I know I'm going way too far.
To have at least you need two goaltenders. I think Allen, his time's going to be done after his contract, so that's a good starting point. Having Montembeault, and hopefully we get somebody in the pipes that can, even if it's a two goalie tandem, whatever it is, that brings Montreal where they need to be, which is the next step, making playoffs and competing for the cup.
Did you hear my bold
Yeah, I was here. I shook my head.
Yeah, you were here. It's true. Your eyebrows were fucking sweating. It's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah. My eyebrows were like going insane. They were like, I can't believe you said that. It's bold. It's bold. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know.
We got quite a few reactions. We got quite a bit of a fan reaction there. Some fans were like, yeah, okay, all right. So some were on board. Some were like, "Yo, calm down." But like, hey, this is the fun out of this. We could do whatever we want, say whatever we want, and
it's better than Anthony's 10 scenarios.
Yeah, but the Anthony scenario sessions are hilarious. But listen, we're all keeping an eye on Montembeault. Can we talk about Lane Hudson, please? Again.
Yeah, that goal he scored.
That goal.
Nuts, yeah.
Like, I don't care if it was against Austria. Like, nobody else is scoring that goal.
Who's it against? I mean,
he's an 18, 19-year-old doing this against men. Mm-hmm. Like, are you serious? Like, holy shit. And he won player of the game. Picked up a goal and assist.
2 years, really.
I think we will. He's going back to university one more year. He's got just a few things to work on. I think here's my other bold prediction. A lot of Habs fans were upset that he got robbed of the Hobie Baker. Yeah, you could have a bit of an argument there. If he does the same thing in college, like he did last season, or better, he's gonna win it. And I think college at that point is gonna be way too easy for him. They're gonna sign him.
Yeah,
Cantus is gonna sign him.
You think he can? You think he can make the team in 2 years, or do you think Laval will be good to begin?
All depending on whether or not he has awareness of what's going on the ice, because I think he's the type of player who can get hit hard and really hurt. If he can keep his head up and he could avoid checks, I think he's smooth sailing. I think he could come right on in, no problem.
But he has that a little bit. He does, for sure. He's going to get worked on it for sure.
Like,
he's doing better with
Caulfield,
it,
for example. Yeah, like Caulfield, for example, had that dirty hit against him this year that I
Yeah.
think concussed him, that knocked him out against Calgary.
I think it hurt. I think
But other than
that messed
that,
up
like
his shoulder. I think.
yeah, I think that too. But
Yeah.
if he has that type of awareness, that, like if you watch Caulfield is still aggressive, but he's got a great sense of like, oh shit, I might get hit. He protects himself very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
If Lane Hudson can do that, I think the guy's playing for the Canadians within the next 2 years. Easily.
I think so. But Joe, to answer your question, I don't think there's anything wrong sending him to Laval for a season.
Okay,
I mean,
it's just I know it depends his development, but we'll see if he can be ready to make the jump right away after college. But with defensemen, it's always longer, so I was just seeing your take.
Here's one thing I'm willing to bet though. Like his first training camp, he might, if he makes the team, he's gonna be one of the final cuts to make it or not make it.
Okay,
that's my. But the thing is though, we gotta remember that he's an NCAA prospect. So, if he does, I'm trying to remember the rules here, but if he does get a contract, I don't think he's allowed to go to Laval unless he's 20, 21 years old. That's another thing we got to remember.
He's not. Is he 19 already?
I didn't check his birthday, but we got to take the age into consideration.
Yeah, so maybe it would be but the thing is, if
he's 20
after next year and he can't meet the requirements for the AHL, he's too good for minor leagues. What do you do?
Well, listen, I think now I really got to double check his birthday, but if he turns 20 before the start of the new year, he's able to go pro. If one of you two want to check his birthday,
checking.
But
he's 19 right now, and he's born February 14th, so he'll be
so he's going to be eligible to play. He'll be eligible to play. You got to be 20 years old before but you got to be 20 years old before the new season starts.
Yeah, he'll be.
So he will be. It's kind of like it's the same case like Mayu. Mayu just turned 20, and we're gonna get to Logan Mayu later on. But Logan Mayu is 20 years old. He's technically eligible to go pro. So it's either you do 4 years in junior, or you turn 20 within that same calendar year, or if you're 21 years old, automatically you're eligible to go pro.
Okay.
So we're gonna see, but those are the two Habs players that I really, really wanted to talk about that are in the IIHF world champion. Obviously, Sean Farrell scored a pretty nice goal too. Luke Tuck has a goal too. You have Armia that's playing okay for Finland. Fredrik Ditchow, hey, for Denmark, he's actually playing. He's playing well also. But I love these tournaments, and we talk about this many times. But these tournaments help these types of players that are not top caliber players, but the experience that these players get to have.
Yeah,
exactly. And there's a little bit more of that pride for representing their home country. So this can, for me, I could see this as benefiting some of the guys that are in the depth chart of this team.
Exactly.
All right. This is the part I'm really, really, really looking forward to. Well, one of the subjects I'm looking forward to. Conference finals predictions. So we're going to start out west. We have Dallas Stars facing the Vegas Golden Knights. I want to hear from you guys. Who's taking this series, in how many games, and why do you think this team is going to win? So let's start out in the West. Who's winning it, Dallas or Vegas? In how many games? And
I got Dallas in 6.
Okay.
I like Ottinger. I think he's a fantastic goalie. I like Heiskanen leading the defensive line.
What a beast!
Look,
beast.
Pietrangelo has more experience for sure, but Heiskanen's a beast. I like the way some of their younger players are performing. In the playoffs. It's going to be tough either way. It really is. I mean, you got Eichel going up against, you got the likes of Eichel, Stone going up against the likes of not even Sagan Ben. It's more Robertson hits, right? I know Robertson has been doing as well. So I think that extra depth that Dallas has had, it just might seal it for them. And I think they're taking it in 6.
Okay. Chris?
Vegas, 7.
Okay.
Too much star power. I think there's too much star power. I actually genuinely feel like Vegas, it's their year. I think the only team that'll well, I'm not going to divulge, but I think there's one team in the East that could stand in their way.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, there are two teams in the East that could stand in their way. It depends how it plays out because I'm
No,
torn on that prediction too.
I think you had it, but we're gonna get there. But I think for me, it's just one team. But we're gonna get to that.
Yeah. So I think there's just too much star power. I think they have the experience. You look at the teams that have won over the past years. I mean, Washington, they lost and they learned how to win. Tampa, they were losing, they learned how to win. Every
Colorado.
single one of the teams they lost and they learned how to win. And we were talking, you brought it up earlier, Joey. There were so many opportunities for Vegas to go into deep playoff runs. I think they have the players in place. They have insane amount of depth. They have a good balance, like what I was ripping on Toronto for. I think they have some team toughness. They have some talent. They have guys who bring it and don't disappear. I truly think this could be Vegas's year. I think they go to the finals, and that's no disrespect to Dallas because fantastic goaltending, fantastic player performances, but still a little bit young. I think Dallas is going to have to go through that process of learning how to lose, even though they lost in the finals. I don't think Dallas is there yet.
That's the one counter argument I'll have is Dallas did lose a final recently, so some of them have the experience. But it's up to for me, it's going to be up more to Ben and Sagan rather than the younger guys to kind of bring them through.
I'm going to add more to that, Joe, and this is going to lead to my prediction. I'm going to say Dallas in 7, but it's really going to depend on, like Joey said, they're going to need a bit more from Ben, who he only has 2 goals, 13 games played. He only has 2 goals. They're going to need Seguin. It's too bad Tyler Seguin is not the player he is anymore. I think those injuries really messed him up. We mentioned him before, though. Robertson. They're going to need a lot more out of Robertson this series, or else they are done for. Yeah. You're gonna get expect the same type of performance from Rupert Hintz, Joe Pavelski as well. Hey, listen, Evgeny Dandanov, it's been working out so far, ex-Montreal Canadiens.
For both teams, right?
But let's talk about another past ex-Montreal Canadiens legend, Max Domi. He's doing very well. He's doing very well in Dallas. Again, role players. If those role players do their job, they might actually win this.
We know how to get role players. We just don't know how to get
we don't know how to
talent.
Well, that's I love Miro Heiskanen. Did we forget that Ryan Suter is on the Dallas Stars?
Yeah.
At one point, he was like
he
was the best American defenseman when he was in Minnesota. Minnesota, he was his best. Like, we forget that.
He also Nashville.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, that's very true. But I don't remember if he got traded or when he signed to Minnesota, but him and oh my God,
Zach Parise.
Yes, when those two went to, like, it was a big fucking deal. Jake Ottinger, though, like, it's gonna be on his shoulders, and that's where I think Dallas has a slight edge over Anton Hill. Is that his name? At the goalie for Vegas. Like, I don't know if they're going to go with Jonathan Quick, knowing that you still have him there. Like, it's a good thing. I really like Jake Ottinger. I purchased his rookie card. It's coming in the mail. Mint condition. I really like him. It's going to be on this guy. If this Dallas team does win in 7, like I'm predicting, it's going to be because of him. But they're going to need a lot more out of Ben, a little bit more out of Seguin, definitely a lot more out of Robertson, because 2 goals in these playoffs, the entire playoffs, is not enough. They're going to have to step it up a notch. And I think Vegas has a bit more the defensive side with Pietrangelo, with Theodore, Martinez, McNabb. Like, I think it's going to be close, man. I think it's going to be close.
They have another ex-Hab, Dallas. You know what I'm speaking of?
I said Dadonov. I said Domi.
I'm missing one.
Oh, my God. Give me a hint.
Oh, he didn't play much for Montreal. I'll tell you that much.
Well, I said John Merrill. I don't know.
No. Joel Hanley.
Who?
You don't remember Joel Hanley?
Yeah, I remember. Wore number 20. He wore number 24 for 24 hours. Yeah, I remember.
He played. What was it, like 15 games? He's their 6th defenseman.
Yeah, I know. Hey, well, listen. Listen. Okay, good for him. Look. Anyways, that's my Western Conference Finals prediction. Let's go to the East. Carolina versus the Florida Panthers. Joel, you wanna kickstart this one?
Yeah, I like what Florida's done. Look, if they make the finals, it would be incredible to go through the Bruins, best team franchise since like the
Yeah.
70 Canadians, Toronto, who always has excellent years, even though they choke. And if they get through Carolina, number one in the Metropolitan, I would surely I would praise them to no end. But I think it's going to be too much. I think Carolina, even though the Michigan Cup, I think Carolina's going to take it. I would like to say Carolina in 5, but it's too bold. So I'll go Carolina in 7. I think Carolina is going to win at
Okay.
home. Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
They
Chris?
have too much. I don't know if it's any other reasoning. They have crazy depth. I love their defense.
Mhm.
Brent Burns is. I don't know how he does it every single year.
it's I'm telling you, it's
Aho,
that beard. It makes him fucking glide faster. It's like he's
Aho,
hovercrafting.
Aho is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
there's a reason Mark Bergevin should have went with a
Ex Montreal Canadiens for like a day.
ex
A
Montreal
week.
Canadian should have went with a higher offer sheet. But Kakanyemi's been performing better. I mean, Seth Jarvis has done well. Yes,
love the kid.
Pass is decent. Martin Necas, I can go on and on, but this
Oh
team
my god, yeah.
they have such a great team. So I'm going to say Carolina in 7. Just
Okay.
hope Frederick Anderson can hold the fort down.
Yeah. Okay. Go, Chris.
Okay, so the team that I was alluding to earlier, the team that I thought can get in the way of Vegas or Dallas, was in fact Carolina. I think it would be in 6 games. I'm just calling an audible, I guess, on it. There's something special going on in Florida. They've peaked at the right time. If Bobrovsky can play like he has been playing and stand on his head, if not play better, like he did against Boston. If Matthew Tkachuk, who didn't score all Toronto series, can perform much better, don't be surprised to see Florida in 7 or even maybe 6. But that's dependent on those two players in particular. And you talked about Barkov before. Barkov has been a pretty silent in these playoffs. If that guy steps up his game,
He's gotta wake up. I agree.
I'm just saying Florida is a huge X factor that I think could also stop any team just because they have momentum with them, they have belief with them, they have the players peaking at the right times. And if star players like Barkov can take a step up, they immediately become scary. Do I think logically, putting emotions aside and all that, do I think Florida's going to win? Unfortunately, not. Fortunately for our pick, but I'm going to say Carolina in 6. But
Yeah.
just be mindful, Florida. You're not out, and I wish you luck.
I have exactly the same thing. I got Carolina in 6. If there's one thing that I think is gonna be a pain in the ass for the Florida Panthers is Carolina's speed. Their speed, they're practically a 3 to 4 man forechecking Carolina when they go into the offensive zone. And I think as Florida went throughout these playoffs, their opponents got faster and faster. Like the New York Islanders, they were able to handle them no problem. Toronto, I have to say Toronto kind of gave it to them a little bit, but Florida was able to hold the fort because they stuck to the game plan. They were very physical against Toronto, something that Toronto isn't. Carolina is a different team. Not only do they hit, but they're fucking fast. Joey mentioned the defense. Not only are they big, they got 3 guys at 6'3". Brent Burns at 6'5". They skate so well. It's unreal. That Rob Brindamore effect that it has on them. Like, I seriously hope Marty St. Louis could take a page out of his book. I think Carolina is. I think this is their cup to win. We're gonna get to. I know we're gonna get to a Stanley Cup Finals episode in the near future, but I just love this Carolina team. They have so much depth, and like there's not one player that's doing everything and the other ones are following. Like they're so collectively they're together. They're a unit. It's everybody taking turns at putting in points and playing either defensively or doing the proper forechecking. Like, this team is so well rounded. It's I think those elements are going to be a pain in the ass for Florida. You mentioned the Barkov. He needs to step up his game. I think Kachuk needs to step it up a little bit more. He's got to start scoring goals, or he's got to be that factor like he was against the Bruins. Bobrovsky, my God, like, he's got to play better than ever. But if what's his name? If Anderson, Carolina's goalie, like, he's got to hold the fort too, because if he chokes, that team is gonna fucking crash like the Titanic, or sink. Not crash. He's gonna sink like the Titanic.
Former Maple Leafs goaltender.
No, but listen,
somewhere else.
He's success somewhere else. He's doing well. But look, here Anthony gave us his predictions. He's going with Carolina in 6. He's going with Dallas in 6. Chipman Adri, happy birthday, buddy. He's going Dallas in 5, Carolina in 7. So this is
Dallas in 5. Interesting.
He's going Dallas in 5. Yeah, that's
Zook
very interesting. I know Zook didn't. He was told he didn't do it, but I'm sure he's gonna
just hope Anthony is wrong. That's all. But I did say Dallas in 6. So
yeah, I got Dallas. I got Dallas in 7, Carolina in 6. But that's
did the whole roster pick Dallas except for myself?
I don't know what Zook picked, but yeah, you're the only one that picked Vegas.
All right, I said in 7. Yeah. It's going the distance.
It's gonna be.
Remember, this is from Chris, who said Anderson was gonna hit 30 goals, and we're gonna have 330 goals.
Fuck! You were starting to sweat at the end of the season. Don't tell me you weren't, Joey.
Never
he picked it up.
A doubt.
If he wasn't injured,
never a doubt.
Oh my God!
I had to bring it up once because when the season ended, Chris wasn't here, so there was perfect opportunity to bring it up.
That's no problem. Okay. Well, listen, boys, that's it for the conference finals talks. Before we wrap it up, just want to talk briefly about some of these Habs prospects that are in the CHL finals. Being we only got 3 of them left now in the OHL and in the WHL. Owen Beck is 1 win away. Owen Beck and the Peterborough Petes are 1 win away from defeating Logan Mailloux and the London Knights. Now that the playoffs are here, they're actually broadcasting them on TSN. No blackouts, Chris. And yeah, dude, like the London Knights are a good team, but the Peterborough's goalie is he's been a human wall. Owen Beck scored a Cole Caulfield type of goal, kind of like on the one knee, just snapped it home, open net. Logan Mailloux picked up 2 assists, and I actually watched him yesterday, and I know it's just 1 game, but my God, Mailloux, he's got 21 points in 19 games.
I'm glad they're both playing well, Beck and Mailloux.
Yeah, and honestly, I never thought London would be down 3-1 the series. They were so strong in these playoffs and even throughout the season, especially the second half. Like, I'm actually quite surprised they're down. If they make a comeback, it can make things interesting. But at least one of those 2 prospects is going to go to the Memorial Cup.
When can you see Mailloux in a Habs jersey?
Okay, excellent question. He's eligible to go pro. That's why he signed. He's got a slide in his contract. It starts as of next year. With everything that surrounds him and missing practically a year, not just through COVID, but because of what happened, he missed half a year at least. Do you send him back to junior, or do you send him to Laval?
I'd probably say, because he missed that year, probably another year in the juniors.
And you're paying him. You're paying him that 1 year. You're doing the same thing like Jack-Eye. His last year in junior, Jack-Eye was getting paid by the Canadians.
Yeah. I mean, because he missed that point of development, but it all depends. Rookie camp can really change. Like, he's very close. He's on the borderline of being an AHLer, at least to start, right? So it's very hard. I don't think there's a wrong decision here. I really don't think there is.
I think because if you recall last year's rookie training camp, he was injured. He was skating alone. He wasn't participating. I think this year he goes there and he's definitely getting invited to training camp, not just the rookie training camp, but the Montreal Canadiens training camp.
Yeah, he'll be there for sure.
He will be there, and that's where they're going to see. Personally, I think he is ready to go pro, not make the jump to the NHL. I think you.
That's good, and we'll see.
I think you put him in Laval.
Yeah.
Laval is kind of like cleaning house, and they're making a lot of room for these prospects. We mentioned it before. Riley Kinney's going to be there. Joshua Roy is going to be there.
Maybe Mayu.
Maybe Mayu. Maybe Philip Massar.
Sean Farrell?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe if Farrell doesn't make the Canadiens.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
maybe.
with a healthy team,
yeah, I
he
think
does
so.
it.
I think so too. One player I hope and I think will get a minor league contract, not a Montreal Canadiens contract just yet, in the WHL for the Seattle Thunderbirds, Jared Davidson.
Oh, good prediction. He's been doing very well.
He's been doing very well. 23 points in 18 games. And Craig Button was praising him yesterday. Actually stayed up at like 10:30 up until 1 in the morning. Craig Button was praising him. I know Joey don't like him. I know a lot of people here don't like him.
Did you see his prospect list?
Oh, come on, Joe. It's okay.
Did you see his last one he made? People were laughing at him. People were seriously laughing at him. I'm not
I didn't. I'll go double check it for you, Joey. But listen, he was praising him, and I think for the right reasons. Kid, he's 6 feet tall, but he looks like he's the size of a fridge. Like he reminds me a little bit, Joey. Don't laugh. He reminds me a bit of Josh Anderson, but that doesn't have just that one waist. That doesn't have that one waist style. That just north-south play. Like the kid, he's probably not as fast or doesn't skate like the wind like Josh Anderson does, but I think he's able to play a little more of a rounded game, and he has an excellent shot. He's a left winger. I hope he gets a contract from Laval the same way that they did with Raphael Harvey-Pinard. I hope he gets a contract, goes to Laval, play a year there. He's eligible to go pro now. They have to sign him by next year, I believe. But he's played 5 years in junior, like he's done, and he's 20. He's gonna turn 21, I think. So like he's eligible to go pro. Like I really think that's gonna happen. I think, don't forget Jakob Dobies is gonna be going to Laval too. He's got that contract. He's under contract, so they're making a lot of room for the prospects now. Here, okay, Joe, you sent what do you have?
Sorry if it's a bit messed up, but but Button had Bedard first, Fantilli second, Carlson third, Matt Mitchkov fourth. Then he comes out of nowhere because of, I don't know if it's one tournament. He put Sandin Pelika at fifth, and he had then 6 he had Will Smith. 7 he had Edward Sale, and he had Zach Benton Leonard at 12 and like Benson at 13, 14.
Zach Benson is
he made
good.
wild guesses. I know.
He made
good. Just wild guesses, and everybody,
maybe
a lot of other players that follow prospects, probably even more than I did, look at this and they were like, wow, like what was he thinking when he was making this?
But what do you think of we're going to wrap this up soon, but what do you think of the rumors of the Canadiens looking at Reinbacher, the defenseman?
I don't mind it, but I don't love it. It's too safe for me.
Okay.
You know what? There's another thing that I wanted to actually discuss. Even if it comes from one of these bullshit like clickbait websites, it actually was sourced from Twitter, and it was basically a proposition for a trade from Detroit and Montreal. You basically had you had the 5th overall pick. I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but it was the 5th overall pick and 133rd overall pick for Detroit's number 9. Detroit's number, I think it was like anywhere between 19 to 21 overall pick. And you also had pick number 43. So you had...
I think no. I'm just saying no because I think it's we always say about having top end talent. I just wouldn't do it.
I don't think
just one thing though. One thing, Joey. I completely understand. I completely agree with you. What happens if there's the goaltender that we were discussing?
Well, that's where your 29th pick comes in.
Yeah, but wait a minute.
30th or 31st, whatever.
No, but not just that. Like, what about the not the 30, not the 29th or whatever that Philly that Florida gets. But what about the the 37th pick that we have. Oh no, it's true. We have Colorado's pick at second round. We don't have our own second round pick. I just remember that.
Which is, I mean, it's okay. I'm just saying, like, from the 5, unless you're trading
Hold on a
up,
sec.
I wouldn't chance it by trading down. I think you're potentially losing top
No.
talent.
Sorry to interrupt you, Joe. No, I made a big mistake. No. We still have our second round pick. It's the 2024 draft that we have
No, we don't.
Colorado's.
Okay,
That we have
yeah,
Colorado's
okay.
second round pick and not our own. No, so like, dude.
By the way, Sam, do you
Yeah.
know where Button ranked Reinbacher in this latest one?
No.
24th.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but wait a minute. Is this an updated list?
Swear to God that this was his most recent list that everyone was shocked.
All right.
I'm not kidding. It was.
I believe Joe. I believe you.
It was way too. It was more bold than your Molten Bull prediction. Let me tell you that much.
Okay.
It was. It's really bold. But look,
I got competition.
Yeah, it's fine with the rumors. I just don't want it to be safe. I don't think the defense is the play in this draft for the first.
I know we lack on the right side, but like, anyways, I don't think it's the time either.
Just to specify what I was saying again, it was a proposition. I think it came out of Detroit, but it was 9th, 17th, and 43rd for the 5th and 133rd.
If we didn't have another first rounder, I'd say maybe, but I would not trade back 4 spots and potentially losing.
Okay. No, not in this draft. No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, not in this draft.
Some of these trade proposals that you see everywhere on the internet.
I want to keep our top 5. I want to keep our top 5. I wanted your guys' opinion because
no. Oh my God!
Just like Columbus and San Jose, I don't think will move out. Like same with us. I would love to move up. We'll never get 1 or 2, but I would even love to move up at 3. And then we have the choice of
we're gonna have to give up. We're gonna have to give up something big to get there, and then I don't think Hughes is
Savard and Gallagher done.
Yeah, okay.
The 4th overall pick for our 5th and Gallagher.
Yeah.
This is where I know you're tired, and we need to stop the show because you're saying fucking outrageous things. Listen, guys, this was an absolute blast, man. I had a lot of fun doing this episode. To the other Curfew boys, I hope that you enjoy this. Listen, a big shout out to our followers on all our podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, but especially on YouTube. We've been getting a lot of love and support on YouTube. A lot of engagement. People are commenting on our videos, even on Twitter too. There's people out there that have been giving us a good name. We truly appreciate from the bottom of our hearts. Please continue the love and support on YouTube. Tell your friends about us. Share it with your friends. Click like, subscribe to that. Subscribe. Oh my God, I'm messing this up. Listen, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any podcast platform. We're on Facebook. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. The support once again is the support and engagement is fun, and we promise if you want to engage in some conversations regarding the team, we'll be a part of it. Joe, you got something to say?
Yeah, I before you ended the show, I just really want to say to fans, I think the feedback and the comments are important. Whether we do something great or even something bad, I mean, we don't take it as like harsh criticism. That would only make us better. So keep sending feedback. I mean, if you want to see something that you think, that you not that you don't like, but that can help us improve and get better, we're all ears. So anything you guys have, comments, feedbacks, keep sending it our way on any podcast platform. And we're just happy to do this and glad to see you guys are supporting us.
Amazing. Spread the love, spread the word. Yes, Chris.
And especially as Sammy's saying on YouTube, seeing engagement from the out of market places. We had, I think, recently some commenters, somebody commenting from Vancouver and giving their perspective.
Oh yeah.
It's always interesting to see. So again, we love to even hear from fans outside of our organization, and we like to know what we're going to be going up against and who we're going to be battling against in the next few years. So we love that support from you guys as well.
That's supposed to be the beauty about conversation. Before we say goodbye, breaking news: Florida just tied it up 1-1. 4 minutes and 32 seconds left. Barkov, baby. Your
Of
boy.
course.
Your boy.
Oh,
So there you go. Things are gonna get
Gosh,
interesting.
so
Listen,
If he
man.
comes to Montreal, I buy a
You're
jersey right
listen,
away.
I think Rob Brindamore has a fucking secret fucking headphone in his ear, and instead of listening to the guys up above him, he's listening to the Curfew Boys. Thank you all, everybody, for tuning in to this episode. Greatly appreciate it. Enjoy the conference finals, gentlemen. You as well. Enjoy it. Have a good night. I'll talk to you guys soon. Until next time.
Bye now.
I know.
Good night.